You were taught to be soft, to open up, to be vulnerable. They packaged it nicely, made it sound noble. Be her protector, her provider, her peace. They told you that's what women wanted. A good man, a kind man, a man who listens, who feels, who serves. But now you're sitting here, confused, abandoned, ignored, watching the same woman who once couldn't get enough of you now fall head over heels for a man who doesn't even call her back. And somewhere deep inside, you feel it. That quiet ache, that whisper in your gut that says, none of this works. And it doesn't. Not in the real world. Calvin Reed didn't write Women Magic Lure for men who still believe in fairy tales. He didn't write it for the ones who think desire is about flowers and feelings. He wrote it for the man who's tired of playing a losing game, who's been ghosted, drained, manipulated, and is ready to wake up. There's a truth most men aren't allowed to say out loud. Women don't fall in love with good. They fall for gravity, for presence, for power. Not for kindness, not for compromise, not for your vulnerability at the wrong time. The man she dreams about isn't the one who caters to her every need. It's the man who doesn't need her applause to know his worth. You were raised to chase, to earn love like it's some kind of prize for good behavior. But here's what nobody told you. The moment you start chasing, you lose. You flip the polarity. You signal, I'm beneath you, so I run after you. And Reed doesn't sugarcoat it. He says it plainly, never chase. Because the moment you chase, you're no longer the prize. You're the pet. And women don't sleep with pets. They pet them, praise them, then move on to the wolf, the man who doesn't chase approval, the man who commands attention just by being himself. That's the shift. Women aren't drawn to men who overexpress. They're drawn to men who build. You want her to want you? Then stop needing her. Build a life so rich, so full, so magnetic. She can't help but be pulled into your orbit. Not because you bought her flowers, but because you gave her silence, purpose, direction, mystery. You're still out here thinking love is about proving yourself, putting in effort, texting first, opening up fast, hoping your honesty earns you intimacy. But that's not what creates desire. Effort doesn't spark attraction. Energy does. The man who doesn't flinch, the one who could walk away without blinking. That's the man she can't forget. That's the magic lure. Reed reveals a brutal truth. Most men think love is fair, and even exchange. It's not. It's a power dynamic, a dance of who needs less, of who controls the rhythm, of who lets go first. And women? They don't need to read books to learn that. They've been trained since girlhood. Don't give too much. Don't look too eager. Let him work. Let him invest more than you. Why? Because the one who invests more becomes emotionally hooked. It's not cruel. It's survival. It's instinct. And you? You're over here bearing your soul, texting long paragraphs, trying to build connection by revealing everything about yourself. But she's not reading your words for understanding. She's scanning for leverage, not to hurt you, but to assess. Can I mold him? Can I shape him? Will he orbit around me? And if the answer is yes, you're no longer a mystery. You're a mirror, and no woman desires a mirror. She craves a mountain, something solid, unshakable, mysterious. That's the mistake. You think opening up builds closeness. But if you open too soon, all you're doing is giving her the instruction manual to your soul. And once she has that manual, the chase is over. Not because she's heartless, but because your mystery died in your desperation. Reed's message is sharp. Being emotionally open too early isn't vulnerability. It's volunteering for emotional disarmament. Every secret you reveal too fast, every fear, every insecurity, they become the breadcrumbs she never asked for, but can't unsee. You hand her your psychological map and expect her to be more attracted, but she's not. Because what keeps her coming back isn't clarity, it's curiosity. Here's the truth. Women are wired to respond to uncertainty with desire, not chaos, but masculine unpredictability. The calm man, the quiet man, the one who speaks less, but says more with his presence than any words could. He's the man who gets in her head, the one who lingers in her mind when she's trying to fall asleep. She's not asking, "Why did he stop texting me?" She's asking, "Why can't I stop thinking about him?" You think love is about confession, that the more she knows about you, the safer she'll feel. But women don't trust words. They trust energy, direction, detachment, dominance. When your energy screams, "Please pick me," she doesn't feel admiration. She feels repulsion. Not because she's superficial, but because her biology punishes need. Need smells like desperation. Need says, "I can't fix myself, so I need you to fix me." That's not love. That's dependency dressed up like romance. And women feel that. They might not speak it, but they feel it in their core. Because when a man worships her, he gives up the one thing she needs to truly respect him: emotional authority. And once she has that, you're hers, but not in the way you hoped. You become her project, her emotional pet, her nice guy to manage. Not because she's mean, because she's burdened. She never wanted that role. She wanted a man, but you gave her a boy needing guidance. And here's the brutal irony. When she feels that power imbalance, she doesn't feel secure. She feels exhausted, not because she doesn't love you, but because no woman wants to be the man in the relationship, even if she acts like she does, even if modern culture tells her she should. Over time, she'll start to test you, push you, provoke you, not to destroy you, but to see if there's anything solid beneath all that softness. You're still stuck in this loop. Texting first, texting often, pouring your soul out way too soon, hoping honesty will win her heart. But here's the truth. She's not reading your words for connection. She's scanning them for leverage. She's not trying to understand you. She's sizing you up. Not to hurt you, but to assess, can I mold him? Can I direct him? Can I take emotional control here? And if the answer is yes, you've already lost your edge. You're not a mystery anymore. You've become a mirror. And women don't chase reflections. They chase challenges. They crave the unknown, not the completely known. When you hand over every piece of yourself too soon, every fear, every need, every vulnerability, you're not building intimacy. You're handing over the blueprint. You're volunteering your psychological secrets before she's earned your trust. That's not connection. That's disarmament. She didn't ask for your instruction manual, but you gave it anyway. And the moment she sees all of you, before she's invested anything, the thrill fades. Not because she's cold or manipulative, but because the mystery evaporated in your desperation. Understand something critical here. Women are wired to be intrigued by uncertainty, not chaos, not instability, but a masculine unpredictability. That calm, composed energy that doesn't overshare, doesn't overreact, doesn't overexplain. The kind of man who can lead without giving a speech, who can make her feel something without having to convince her of anything. She doesn't dream about the guy who opens up and begs for her love. She dreams about the man who haunts her without saying a word, the one she can't stop thinking about, not because he confessed his feelings, but because he held them. You think telling her everything makes her trust you. It doesn't. Words don't build trust, energy does. Direction does, detachment does. A man who knows where he's going without needing her applause to get there? That's the kind of man she can follow. Because when your energy screams, "Please choose me," she doesn't feel flattered. She feels repelled. Not because she's arrogant, because biology punishes need. That neediness, whether it's subtle or loud, it smells like survival. It says, "I need you to fix what I haven't fixed in myself." And that isn't love. It's dependence in disguise. Women can feel the difference, even if they can't always explain it. A man who places her on a pedestal slowly becomes less of a man in her eyes. Because the moment you give her your emotional authority, she no longer respects your strength. She might say she loves the attention, but over time, she'll feel the weight of it. Because no woman wants to carry the emotional weight of being the man in the relationship. She might tolerate it at first. She might even try to lead for a while. But eventually, the resentment will grow. Not because she wants to dominate you, but because she's silently hoping you'll take it back. She'll start testing you. She'll provoke you. Not to break you, but to see if you'll finally stand your ground. To see if you still have a spine beneath all that softness. Calvin Reed says it flat out. The moment she knows she can emotionally control you, she will lose sexual interest. Not because she's cruel, because desire doesn't live in comfort. It lives in polarity. Masculine energy, direction certainty. A man who doesn't just react to her moods, he anchors her through them. That's the part they never teach you in school. You think love is about emotional equality, and maybe in friendship, in respect, it is. But attraction? Attraction is primal, and primal doesn't care about equality. It cares about instinct, about contrast, about the pull between opposites. She'll test you, not to punish you, but to feel you, to feel your edges, to feel your strength. She'll withdraw, not to run, but to feel your pull. She'll push boundaries, not because she wants to cross them, but because she needs to know they're real, that they hold under pressure, that you hold under pressure. You're interpreting her tests as rejection, but they're not. They're measurements. And most men fail because they don't even realize they're being measured. She doesn't want perfection. She wants presence. She doesn't fall for the man who gets everything right. She falls for the man who doesn't fold. The man who's so grounded, so secure in himself, that her beauty doesn't shake him. Her emotions don't move him. That's when she feels something she's never felt before. Masculine safety. And that doesn't come from pretending to be an alpha. It doesn't come from acting tough. It comes from knowing who you are with or without her. From wanting her, but not needing her. That's the difference between men who chase and men who attract. Because when a man doesn't need her, he starts choosing from abundance. And women can sense that. They don't attach to your compliments. They attach to your energy, to the quiet confidence, to the life you've built that doesn't revolve around her. Reed is surgical when he says this. Your abundance is your leverage. When a woman feels that your world is already full of purpose, of mission, of movement, she can't help but wonder about you. She becomes curious. Where do you go? Who do you see? Why don't you obsess over me the way others do? That's when you become the gravity, not through manipulation, but through mastery. Not by making her the center, but by becoming your own. Most men get this backward. They meet a beautiful woman and collapse. They bend their schedule, cancel their plans, abandon their mission, just to keep her. And when she leaves, they're devastated. But what did you expect? You gave her the throne before she proved she even deserved a seat at the table. Women don't respect easy access. They respect standards. They respect boundaries. They respect a gate that doesn't swing open just because she smiled. Reed doesn't say be rude. He says be rare. Be rare in your silence. Rare in your availability. Rare in your need for constant emotional support. Because when you become the man who doesn't need to talk to be heard, you become unforgettable. Women have heard it all. They've been complimented, praised, admired. But what rattles them is the man who sees through them, not just at them. The man who's not distracted by beauty, who isn't swayed by performance, who doesn't flinch when tested. That's the man who sticks in their mind. That's the man who changes what they thought they wanted. That's the man who becomes the rule, not the exception. Calvin Reed doesn't just teach you how to get the girl. He teaches you how to rebuild the man. Because if you're still measuring your value by how much she texts back, by how fast she replies, by whether she likes your story or not, you're not in love. You're in a state of emotional addiction. You've mistaken her validation for your self-worth. You've made her attention your drug. And every time she pulls away, you go into withdrawal. That's not love. That's a trauma bond. And until you heal it, you'll keep chasing women who feel just out of reach. Not because they're special, but because they trigger your wound. The wound that says, I'm not enough unless someone else says I am. And that's the prison. You don't need more pickup lines. You don't need dating apps, tricks, or tactics. You need sovereignty. You need to build a version of yourself that doesn't flinch when she's silent. A man who doesn't spiral when she leaves. A man who doesn't collapse at the idea of being alone. Because when you no longer fear solitude, you become the kind of man who attracts from power, not pain. This is what Reed drives home. You don't attract what you want. You attract what you are. If you're desperate, you will attract chaos. If you're empty, you will attract users. If you're lost, you will attract women who need control because someone has to lead. But if you are grounded, rooted in purpose, clear in direction, then you will attract women who respect that direction, not challenge it at every turn. That's the formula. It's not about being cold. It's about being centered. She doesn't want a man who gives her the world before she's even asked. She wants a man who is his own world, a man who offers space inside it, but doesn't crumble when she walks out. Because the second she senses that her presence defines your confidence, she loses trust in your strength. And when trust dies, desire dies with it. You think the answer is more effort, more expression, more emotional availability, but what she's craving is energetic leadership. When you show her you don't flinch under pressure, when you show her that your schedule still runs whether she's texting or not, When you show her that you're still building, still pushing, still evolving, she starts to see something she rarely sees. A man who doesn't fold. A man who doesn't need her to be whole. A man she can lose, not control. And that's what pulls her in deeper. Not your compliments. Not your romantic gestures. Not your vulnerability that shows up too soon. What pulls her in is uncertainty mixed with direction. Masculine stillness. Unshakable purpose. You don't need to become mean. You need to become indifferent to whether or not she chooses you. Because when you're indifferent, you're finally free. And ironically, that's when she'll chase. She'll chase because now you are the mystery. You're the outlier. You're the one who doesn't bite at every breadcrumb. You're the one who doesn't flinch when tested. That's what the magic lure really is. It's not manipulation, it's magnetism. It's the result of becoming a man who's already whole, not looking to be saved, not begging to be chosen, not putting her on a pedestal she never earned. Reed says it like this: you don't win her over, you win yourself back. And then she follows. Because when you stop chasing, you create space. And in that space, the right women lean in. Not because you impressed them, but because you didn't need to. They feel that. It's in your walk, your posture, your silence, your time management, your boundaries, your emotional sovereignty. Every time you choose yourself over chasing, you broadcast power. You show the world, I'm not afraid to walk alone. And that's the man who's never actually alone, because everyone wants to follow someone who doesn't need to be followed. Reed isn't handing out tactics. He's giving you truth. And the truth is, you don't become magnetic by memorizing scripts. You become magnetic by being a man who doesn't break when the world goes quiet. That's the core of masculine energy. Direction in silence, power in patience, strength in solitude. Women will test it. They'll delay, withdraw, flirt with others, not out of malice, but out of instinct. To feel your frame, to measure your edge, to sense whether you're pretending or actually powerful. Most men fail this test because they weren't rooted in anything. They were pretending. They learned the lines, not the life. But if you've done the inner work, if you've rebuilt the foundation, if you know who you are and where you're going, then every test becomes a mirror, not of your weakness, but of your calm. And when she sees that calm, that stillness, that sovereignty, she won't just be curious. She'll submit to the energy of it. Not in obedience, but in surrender. Because feminine energy is not looking for control. It's looking for a man strong enough to let her soften, and softness only happens in the presence of strength. You want her to choose you? Then stop proving. Start building, stop chasing, start leading, stop waiting, start moving. Because the man who moves with purpose, who walks like he knows exactly who he is, he doesn't just attract women, he awakens them.